Previously on the Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast.
The Andy and J.J. Dalton Foundation has donated millions of dollars to help Cincinnati families, sick kids, local hospitals. They estimate they've impacted 5 million lives.
That's amazing.
So he's done a great job. Here's a story about Andy Dalton. Last year they're playing in Oakland. Auden Tate gets hurt, neck injury.
You got to update the Oakland.
I know.
They get on the plane.
I know. I only had 2 days. I only had 2 days to update the Open, so you can't expect too much from me.
Do you need an assistant?
You
have 3 minions. You have 3 minions running around here that are quarantined.
It's true. I do have 2 minions or 3 minions.
Yes, there's 3 children.
3, yeah. Like you that one time. You said you had 4 daughters. I'm like, no, you have 5. Good morning, everyone. It is a Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast, Friday, May 8th. I always love May 8th. I always love the 8th because the 8th, I'm in Proverbs 8, so we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the podcast. And we have OSU wrestling coach Tom Ryan joining us today.
Yeah. Plus our
about 7:30. So for the Facebook Live audience, you can join us. I'm not going to say every time because you never know. There's only so many tablets in this house, and one video's the show and one Facebook Live's the show. But hopefully we'll be Facebook Live most days.
We also have our drawing today, correct?
We do have our drawing today. Yes. Let me put the bucket of potential winners right there on the table so that I don't forget to do it, because we have Tom Ryan joining us at 7:30. We got the NFL schedule to talk about. We have a little bit of news on the Memorial Tournament and how they're going to conduct it. J.K. Dobbins signing his rookie contract, and the Oregon Governor. Let's start with the Oregon Governor, Mr. Spielman.
And we have Jim Harbaugh to talk about because I've been preaching that for years.
Yes.
And Jim has a bigger platform than I, so this got some attention yesterday, which I love, by the way.
All right, so we got to get to it quickly. Let's start with the Oregon Governor. She said their health director recommends that they cancel or severely modify all events in the state of Oregon, mass attendance events, through the end of September. That would encompass the September 12th, my birthday, Oregon-Ohio State game.
Cancel the game or do it without people?
She's just they're modified or cancel, so it's both.
Okay,
could be one or the other. Look, here's my position on it. That's 4 months away. I think it's foolish to talk now about what could happen 4 months from now, or to make panic-inducing statements like that 4 months out, because 4 months ago it was the 1st of February, and none of us envisioned what March and April would be like on the 1st of February. Hence, I think none of us can envision what mid-September is going to be like 4 months away.
That's a good point. And something to think about, though, and how that will affect college football. So I thought it was interesting. I think it was James Franklin that came out yesterday. If somebody's not playing, don't punish everybody. I don't know if you saw that statement yesterday or not.
But I did not. But that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And so it might be modified. Maybe the Pac-12 doesn't play this year. I don't know. I don't know the mindset. I don't know their situation. I do think, I was thinking about this, Bruce, in regards to mass gatherings. The word mask, or as our administration likes to say, face coverings. There are studies out there that, and there, this is the thing about this. Every time there's a study, there's one to counter that study. Every time there's a recommendation to counter that. But if it's true, the CDC said don't wear a mask at first. Now they recently came out and said they are recommending mask wear in a mass gathering. Would say this: if your chances of transmitting it to somebody else, I wouldn't be surprised if we have people at games, maybe not 60,000 to 80,000, 100,000, but you do have people at the game. But one of the requirements for attending the game in person is that you wear a face covering. I kind of envision that, and I envision that happening to give yourself the best chance for that not to take place. So we'll see. You're right, though. 4 months, I know things could change so quickly, and it has changed, and there's so much more information. And I think as a country, our leadership on all levels and ourselves are much more educated to make those decisions. And I was pleased to see that Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton and John Husted, Lieutenant Governor Husted, came out and had a plan for opening up restaurants with mitigation in place, and then kind of moving forward and keep moving forward. So I also think that from my perspective, medication, not a vaccine, but I think medication or treatment will be available and more reliable as far as what they know and advanced in what they know and what works and what doesn't work, whether it's chloroquine or remdesivir, I believe I said that right, or close to it.
You're close.
Yeah. What is it? It's procrastinate.
You said when you said procrastinate, you got me thinking. Is that really?
Yeah,
how
you
I say
screwed
it?
me up. By the way.
Remdesivir.
Yeah.
Remdesivir. So when you said it, it put your pronunciation.
By the way, the guy on Twitter had to correct you for correcting me.
He did.
Yeah,
I missed
because
that.
you said that I had to put a G in it.
In what?
Procrastinate.
I don't think I said that. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't
Anyway.
believe Twitter. Don't believe Twitter.
There's some good stuff on there.
It's okay. Yes. So let's just wait and see on the Oregon game.
Yeah.
Now I understand you got to buy your plane ticket and all that kind of stuff, but just wait and see. Let's just not panic on this kind of stuff. Okay. I'd like to see our elected leaders. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes a good answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
evaluate it a month out, and we'll let you know.
Well, I think that the football teams in the Big Ten. I'll just speak on the Big Ten since we're in Big Ten country, in the heart of it all, as they used to say. That probably by the first week of July, there's got to be a decision made. There's got to be a decision made.
First week of July?
On whether you're going. I mean, a team needs to start by the first week of July to get ready for.
To get ready for a season.
Yeah.
You need 8 weeks to get ready for a football season.
Yeah, I do. I think if you haven't been together, yeah.
Okay.
That's my feelings. What do you think? How many do you think?
I think Ryan Day says 6, so
Okay.
I'll sit on 6.
Okay, by the middle.
I think it can be done in 4.
Yeah.
If everybody starts with the same run up, then everybody starts equally, right? So I don't know why you couldn't if you couldn't get together until August the 1st. Okay, lop off the opener. Lop off the first 2 games. If you need that on the back end of September, in the middle of September, 1st of September to get ready, lop off your first 2 games and go from there.
If you do that, then you're killing a little bit of the money that those teams will make during that time.
Right.
So I don't know if that would be wise, because then you're killing lesser programs, which I don't think that's the goal from anybody.
Nope.
So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm fairly confident they'll figure it out and keep kind of moving forward.
They will.
There and
we know who is moving forward. The NFL's moving forward, brother. We got these schedules last night. That will birth all over the country the popular, although not extremely relevant, schedule game. The schedule game. Well, they're here and there.
3-hour
they're gonna win.
specials.
Yeah. Well, the NFL's crushing in the ratings. They're the only thing that's rating higher right now than Last Dance on ESPN. But I don't know that I'd take a victory lap, which one of the ESPN executives yesterday took a victory lap on Twitter about the ratings for Last Dance, and I thought, that's like me taking a victory lap for beating my, 10-year-old in one-on-one basketball. Like,
Yeah.
What's your competition, champ?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing else out there. But here's the Bengals schedule. They start with the L.A. Chargers at home at 4:05 on September the 13th.
That's a great start for them.
If it's Tyrod Taylor or if it's rookie Justin Herbert, talented though the Los Angeles Chargers may be, I like the Bengals in that one.
I do. I look at that game and I think to myself, hopefully it's Herbert, because that's interesting to me, right?
Mhm.
2 rookie
Herbert and
quarterbacks.
Burrow, sure.
So that's a winnable game. Then on Thursday at
Next week,
Cleveland.
second week at the Browns.
That's-
Burrow getting ready on a short week right away.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go, Joe Burrow. You got 3 days, buddy.
Burrow and Baker
Yeah.
doing battle in the Battle of Ohio. Joe going up to Cleveland. That's interesting. I mean, I really like that. I think that's favorable. I mean, it's not inconceivable that the Bengals actually could start out 2-0.
No, it's not. The bye week comes pretty much right in the middle. You like that? The Browns, they finished with the Browns on week 7, so they play the Browns twice in the first 7 weeks. They go at Ravens and at Steelers before they get either one of them at home. They're on the road. They're at the Redskins, Burrow and Haskins, and Burrow and Chase Young, week 11. There's some games that you look at and you go, well, they can't win that one. Dallas Cowboys and
Which will be a sellout in Paul Brown Stadium.
because there'll be a ton of Dallas fans.
I want to say Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, which is the real
course,
Paul
the real
Brown
Paul Brown
Stadium.
Stadium.
But
They finish with the Ravens at home in Week 17. They have Steelers, Ravens, and they have the Steelers on Monday Night Football in Week 15. Then they're at the Texans 2 days after Christmas, and then they finish with the Ravens at home. So they have Steelers and Ravens at home 2 of the last 3 weeks.
It's good. It's good.
I mean, they got a lot of Joe Burrow have a lot of experience by then.
Yeah, it sets up well for them.
It does set up well for them. I think that's a very good schedule for the Bengals. I think Zach Taylor's got to be pretty happy with that schedule. Conversely, your Cleveland Browns, who is our friend Dan, our emailing friend Dan from Minnesota, noted the other day in an email to Spielman Hooley podcast at gmail.com. He said Bruce's Browns dysfunction calendar has been remarkably quiet lately.
It has been.
It has been remarkably quiet.
New leadership.
Good, Dan. Way to go, man. Kevin Stefanski. No news is good news with the Cleveland Browns, but there is not good news on the schedule, in my opinion. The last 5 weeks of the season, the Cleveland Browns are at the Jags, at the Titans, Ravens at home, at the Giants, at the Jets. Now, you can have tougher opponents than the Jags, Giants, and Jets, but the 4 of 5 on the road to end the year and the Ravens being at home, that's not ideal.
No, that's a tough schedule. They open up with the Ravens, which is tough.
At the Ravens they open up. Ouch.
So, then the Bengals. So, but here's the thing: the Browns look at their Thursday night just like the Bengals are looking at Thursday. Okay, got a tough opener. I mean, this is how I evaluate the schedule. If I were a player, or if I were Kevin Stefanski, it's okay. We got a tough opener at the Ravens, fine. But we can come back quick and get the Bengals. We should win that one. You kind of play that game a little bit, although you know that in the NFL, there's never been a truer statement by a title of a movie in the history of movies called Any Given Sunday.
Yes,
because
indeed.
as we know, that can happen, and it's very true in the NFL. And so all that can happen. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I was looking at the Fox broadcast schedule, which came out last night. I'm going to sit there and try to predict where I'm going to go, and I'm going to see if my prediction is going to come true, because my suggestion, although it falls on deaf ears, would be send me all the games that I can drive to.
Well, one of them would be your September 27th Washington Redskins at Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take any Bengal
October
game.
25th, Browns at Bengals.
I'll take it. Well, the problem is it has
That's
to
all.
be on.
It's got to have an NFC team there.
So we're probably looking at the second half of the schedule where they kind of switch that around, and the flex scheduling and teams start swap or the networks start swapping games. So we'll see how that plays out. But I was looking at the schedule. The first 3 weeks I could do drivable games.
You could. That's nice. You might get the Lions in the opener.
I'm Bears and Lions.
That's got, as you said, that's got your name
and I
written
can
all
drive.
over it. You got the Lions in the preseason.
Yeah.
You're all dialed in on the Lions. Jeff Okuda.
Yeah, that
Nick
would be
Foles.
fun. Big game for the Lions.
Okuda pick sixes. Nick Foles.
Yeah, I'm excited for. Is it Bears at Lions or Lions at Bears? I think it's Bears at.
You had it on your phone.
I think it's Bears at Lions. So. But then Minnesota at Indy, week 2, I kind of had my eye on. So I need like Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. I mean, I can go. What is how far is Atlanta from here? Drive.
Atlanta's a haul. I'm gonna say 8. I'm gonna say
I
7
think
or
probably,
8.
I mean, driving to Chicago is not a big deal for me.
6 was always my cutoff on driving the Big Ten cities.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Chicago at Detroit, so that's got my name all over it.
Chicago at Detroit. That's might as well.
Yeah, that says Chris Spielman.
I'm calling William Hill in Las Vegas today. I'm saying Tom and Chris are doing that. By the way, are you with Tom yet, or do you know?
I'm assuming I am.
Okay.
There's been a change. I don't know if you're aware of this, but my good
great
friend
Charles Davis
has gone to be number 2 at CBS, and some people have sent me articles. I haven't heard one way or another that I could possibly go up with Kevin Burkhardt. It's, I think, between 2 other guys and myself. And it doesn't matter to me one way or another. I've always said, as long as I'm doing a game every Sunday, I don't really care what position I'm in. And as long as I have a contract, I'm good, which I'm good through next August on the contract wise. So we'll see. We'll let it play out.
You've had your different range of partners. I think you've worked well with everyone from Pam Ward to Dave Pash to Sean McDonough to Tom Brenneman. Who am I leaving out? Mark Jones?
Mark Jones, Dave, well, my man, Pam, Mark Jones, Dave Pash, Sean McDonough, 2 tours with Sean, then Tom.
Yeah.
So and all of them have been great, and the teamwork, really enjoy all of them. And I actually have a new partner for preseason, and I like to take a little bit of pride in this because the people in Detroit, they make the choice, but they asked me for some recommendations, and they didn't take my recommendation before, but they took it this year. A young guy named Brandon Godden. Now, the people will know who Brandon is because Brandon is the voice of Madden football.
Oh, okay.
Every week.
Well, some people will know.
Yeah, well,
I certainly don't know.
But I think certain people, the popularity of the Madden game, right?
Of course, yeah, it's slightly popular.
Also, Brandon does a lot of work as James Laurinaitis' partner on the Big Ten Network.
Very good.
And we'll do probably 3 or 4 NFL games a year. I actually did a game with Brandon last year when Tom was up with Troy doing a game. So it's an exciting year. Talked to Brandon last night. We got the preseason schedule. So we're only getting 3 out of 4, which is a bummer because ESPN, every year it seems like somebody has to take the Lions. When you take the Lions, you don't understand. You're taking money out of my pocket.
That's right. Don't do that.
So it's New England, Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets. And the Jets one is on ESPN, which I don't understand why they're doing that. But okay, whatever. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't quite get that either. I do get the fact that Hemisphere Coffee Roasters is a company you need to know about. Mr. Spielman has a box of, what do you got there? Hunter's Blend, and what's the other variety that you have today? The fine folks at Hemisphere keeping Mr. Spielman
House Blend.
I
haven't had Hunter's Blend.
You've had the Jamaica Me Crazy. You've had the Nicaragua Java Blues, yes. So Hemisphere Coffee Roasters with many different flavors. They buy direct from growers in Nicaragua, Thailand, and Indonesia, Sumatra, whole bean or ground. They roast it to order, if you like it that way.
Yeah.
Light, medium, and dark roast. Single origin. They have blends. They have flavor-added coffee. They have everything. I dropped some off at our new partners, Willis Spangler Starling, this week. Looking forward to hearing what they think of the coffee and the chocolate. And the chocolate they have is, some of it is keto. Pick your buzzword. Keto-friendly, non-GMO, no sugar added, kosher. It's amazing. It is amazing. It's gluten-free, yes, it's all that. So order online, hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. Get 15% off when you use the promo code WeTackleLife in all caps. Or just note in the comments section you're a Spielman and Hooley listener, and they will donate 20% to COVID-19 relief. So we appreciate Andy and Paul and Grace. They're wonderful people. We were over there this week picking up your coffee. And a special gift for Willis Spangler Starling. And speaking of COVID-19 relief, get those nominations in. SpielmanHooleyPodcast@gmail.com. SpielmanHooleyPodcast@gmail.com. Before we get to OSU wrestling coach Tom Ryan, now would be a good time to draw our 4 winners for COVID-19 relief. Each person will receive $250.
Yeah, here we go. The first one, Nicholas Cianciolo.
Nicholas Cianciolo, fantastic. And
from Alabama.
Nicholas says he's nominating his sister-in-law and her husband Bob, who are in the healthcare industry in Alabama.
Boyce Lancaster.
Nominating a friend.
Meredith Harrison
says she is nominating her sister Kara, who has 2 children, and her husband, the sister's husband, is in law school. Imagine they have need at this time with all the precautions.
Dave Gregory
is our final winner. Dave is nominating Mario. I remember this. Mario runs a Mexican restaurant in Oxford, Michigan.
That's great. Isn't that cool that we can do this all around?
Yes, it is. It's absolutely cool. Fantastic.
I hope Mario did well on Cinco de Mayo. I went through driving by some restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to order online. Like a 2-hour wait, 3 hours.
Really?
To get.
Well, that's great news.
Well, yeah. Then on Sawmill, there are 2 Taco Bells on Sawmill. One up off by Byers Dublin Mazda Subaru. Good friend Mark Lobb.
There you go.
Great service up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one down closer to Henderson, the Taco Bell, and both of the lines were wrapped around. It's just amazing.
Well, great.
Yeah, so you need to get out more.
And by the way, I don't have an appreciation for the relevance or the popularity of Cinco de Mayo.
Well,
I know it's May 5th. Yeah, I know it's Mexican
what,
Independence Day, right?
Yeah, and who they beat?
The Mayans.
The French.
Okay, like I said, I was close.
Okay, well, that's,
The French?
Yeah, I believe it was.
No, like I was saying earlier about beating
my daughter. Be corrected, yes.
Beating my daughter at 1-on-1, I'd lighten up on the gloating over beating the French, Mexico.
French used to be tough.
They did?
Hey, by the way, the French was a pretty good friend during the American Revolution, my friend.
Yes, Lafayette.
Did you know that?
We are here.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
All right.
Yes, I did.
Did you wear a mask at Costco yesterday?
I didn't go to Costco yesterday.
Oh, you didn't?
I will have to wear a mask at Costco. It's not optional. You have to wear a mask at Costco.
Okay.
All right, quickly, I want to read this email, and then I'm going to call. Well, no, let's do this. Tell the people what you like about Jim Harbaugh's proposal to alter the NFL draft. Now, go through it and, tell people what he proposes. And while you're doing that, I will call OSU wrestling coach Tom Ryan, and we'll get Tom Ryan on the phone. Okay?
All right, so Jim Harbaugh did this interview with ESPN yesterday, and I read through it and I liked it. It said Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh wrote an open letter regarding the changes he would like to see with the NFL draft. Harbaugh comes at the draft from two interesting, if not wholly unique angles. First up, he believes players should be able to declare at whatever age they feel ready, rather than after the mandated 3 years out of high school currently in place. Second, he believes that players who get undrafted should be allowed to return to school. We have seen both these possibilities brought up. So, in other words, he has two choices, and I've been a proponent of this forever. I think a player, not everybody's cut out for college. I think you've heard me say that.
Correct.
Many times.
Yes, I have heard you say that.
If a guy thinks he can get drafted in the NFL, he can get drafted in the NFL. And the other thing is, if you don't get drafted, why can't you go back to school? I've never understood that rule.
Yeah.
I have no idea why that rule exists.
Like it's
nobody's ever explained it to
grand offense against the NCAA.
Yeah.
Well, you've renounced your amateurism, so
and
we have no space for you anymore.
The other issue that I'm concerned about is that last night, without a government bailout, it looks to be that the CFL, the Canadian Football League, may fold.
Ooh.
Because, or at least they might have to they're considering canceling of the season if they can't have fans, because unlike the NFL where there's multiple income sources, I think the CFL counts a lot on having fans at their games, and I'm not sure that's going to be the case. So again, we'll see how that plays out. That would be very sad news, especially for a friend of mine Chris Fry. Played at Upper Arlington, played at Michigan State. I'm a really good friend with his fathers, and my son played with his son at Upper Arlington. He plays for Hamilton. That would be sad news to see. But something will spring up from that, whether it's the XFL getting going again, or we'll see what happens. But Tom Ryan will have all the answers. We should put him in charge of fighting COVID, because there's not many guys tougher than Tom Ryan.
No, there is not. Tom Ryan is the wrestling coach at Ohio State, and it's our pleasure to welcome him to the Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast. Tom, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Great to have you with us. I familiarize myself. I know your story, but I familiarize myself more with your story in the last 24 hours by listening to you on a couple of podcasts. And I think it's going to be interesting to talk with you about all kinds of things. Chris and I talk a lot about leadership. We talk a lot about, being faithful fathers and husbands. And we talk about motivation and team culture and all that kind of stuff. And the thing that I thought I'd start talking with you about is, first of all, everybody wants to know a question that has maybe more of a genuine meaning now than it had in the past, where we just flippantly say, how you doing? Now when we say how you doing, it has more meaning because everybody is struggling with adapting to the situation that we're in. So how are you doing, and how are you operating in this period where you can't really work with your wrestlers in the summertime like you normally would?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I have it a lot better than most people. I'm an empty nester, so my kids are out, so the house is peaceful. I can't imagine having a bunch of kids and running around the house all day, which at one point I loved. I love my kids running around the house. I thought I couldn't. How can life move on when your kids are out of the house? And now that they're out of the house, I don't want them back.
Hey, listen, dude. All you got to do is come over to my house because they seem to be multiplying, and all of a sudden everybody thinks it's a good idea to get a brand new puppy during quarantine. So not only am I surrounded by kids and minions, just take, like they think there's an endless food supply that they just eat every time I go to the store. Then all of a sudden there's 3 new dogs in my house. I can't take it. So yes, I appreciate your empty nesting thing. And by the way, in the middle of this, I'm moving, so there's another issue going on. I had to get that off my chest, Tom. I'm sorry.
But he's very selfless. It's not all about him. Remember, it's not all about him.
Of course not. They eat all my food. They're nonstop.
It's so nice. I have Tristan in the closet. When I come home, closet, man. No kids.
Well, I know you.
It's been, I mean, a lot of people are really experiencing the hurt of it. I think the challenge is trying to be, productive in the midst of it. I mean, some people on the front line, and I think as competitors, we're used to being in the mix of things and helping. It's like, I mean, the best way I can help is to stay home. That's a tough pill to swallow for people that think like we do. So, but.
Well, you're an empty nester, but you've got a bunch of guys that I know you take very seriously your role as a mentor in their life, as a developer of their talent. And as I know, you care a lot more about developing them in ways other than just in their wrestling abilities, but that's important too. It has to be important in the league you're in because, man, I mean, we can talk about the SEC West in football, Tom. We can talk about the Big Ten in basketball. I don't know that there's a more competitive league in America than wrestling in the Big Ten, where it seems like every team in the top 5 is a Big Ten team.
Yeah, the Big Ten is a great conference. It's well supported. There's a lot of tough people in the Midwest, right? Northeast, a big sport in the Northeast, Midwest. So, blessed to be in the Big Ten, blessed to coach Ohio State. And we're the biggest challenge are just missing your guys. For 28 years straight is the longest break I've had in 28 years. 20 years at this point, you're in the room, 3 hours a day with people that are chasing something. That's what you're chasing, right? Being elite, being the best that they can be. So, I miss them a lot. We Zoom, we have leadership meetings. We can hold a couple of apps out there that are just amazing. Strava apps. You can track how much they're running and what they're doing. Because Chris knows this as well, and I know you do too. The bottom line is how much you're willing to suffer, right? In the midst of this, you can't be caught on the couch. You got to be suffering. And in April and May of 20 will certainly have an impact on the best team in America in March of 21. So we're trying to keep them motivated and make sure they're staying ready.
What are they doing, Tom? It's just interesting because we talk about social distancing. So wrestling is the total opposite of everything regarding social distancing. What are they doing as far as to be able to do actual training with partners? Is that something that can be done via making sure everybody's healthy, or do they have people that they can train with? How have your guys adapted in that area?
Yeah, so March 11th, the room shut down. We were getting ready. We were 7 days away from the start of the NCAA tournament. As you followed the team, I know that we had 2 guys ranked number 1.
Right.
Moore and Fletcher. We had Sats. I thought we were going to win. I thought we were going to win 3 of 10 weight classes, a bunch of the guys placing. And you get a call and it's over. Right in the middle of practice. You guys have. They had about 48 hours to have their stuff out of the lockers, out of the facility, and the challenge. The challenge. Not everybody has a wrestling mat. All our guys are home now across the country. Some of them have partners they work out with. It's just a one-on-one small group situation. But the room is shut down, so it's a lot of running. Right? You got to adapt. You got to be creative. You got to find ways to get uncomfortable and get that feel that you can get. You can only get the wrestling, but so it's the running, it's weight jackets. So some of these guys have weight jackets, it's dance in motion, and it's the creative guys that will come out of this. March will reveal the most creative, disciplined people through this quarantine. So it's a challenge.
Tom Ryan, OSU wrestling coach, is our guest here on the Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast. And, Tom, you mentioned, I thought it's interesting. Not very many people would frame practice as suffering, because suffering is a word that we, kind of recoil from. It's like, no thanks on that. Hard work, dedication, those are the ways that we sort of paint suffering with a more friendly label. But you've written a book, Chosen Suffering. It's more than suffering in wrestling. You've gone through the kind of challenges in your life that nobody wants to go through. But your journey is extremely inspiring and encouraging. But talk about that, what that term means to you, why you chose that title for your book, and how applicable it is to your life and to what you think is a very useful approach to life.
Yeah, I think suffering is chosen suffering. Is a term that I think, to your point, it's like a wow factor. Where it's like, what, chosen suffering? And I often you get the parents or does my kid have what it takes to compete? For Ohio State, do they have what it takes? The answer is, how much are they willing to suffer? Right? And suffer is just a powerful word for love and sacrifice. Chosen love, chosen sacrifice doesn't hit as hard as chosen suffering. And a lot of my life and any elite person I've been around, they've chosen to do the hard things. They've chosen to get uncomfortable. And our hearts want to stay at a beat of 60 beats a minute, and we got to get up to 180 beats a minute, right? So we got to get uncomfortable. So that's chosen suffering, and there's unchosen suffering, which I know that Chris has experienced. And Bruce, I know you have 3 girls. I don't know much about you personally. I know you have 3 girls, and any one of us would gladly surrender our life for the lives of our children.
Amen.
And it was right, and it was the loss of my 5-year-old son that really brought me to my knees. And what happened, I would say, was when we can't, when you lose a football game, or when you lose a basketball game, or you lose a wrestling match, you can explain the data to figure out the why. What went wrong, the why. And when you lose a child, for me, he was 5, and I couldn't figure out the why. The why just didn't make sense. Right? Why? Why did this happen? And where is he? And where is he going? And I realized that this empty